can feel it in my bones.
Hey, you caught me again, Reverend Mark Hughes, the Executive Director of the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance. You caught me on Juxtaposition. That's right, Juxtaposition. Issues affecting black folks. Anybody tell you today, we ain't got time for that. So we're moving forward. I just want to introduce you to my guest here today. I have the illustrious, industrious Jada Bearden with me, a program coordinator over at the Richard Kim Center. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, I figured we would just sit around and chat it up for a minute today.
As we do.
And as we do, and just sit back and chill for a minute. Hopefully later on we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things that y'all have going on at the Richard Kim Center. Until then, one of the things that I wanted to do is at least, and I never let y'all get off the hook on this. Take a look at this slide. There's this systemic racism thing I want to talk to you about. I just want to tell you a little bit about the legacy of slavery, because really what we're working through, it hasn't changed at all. I mean, it doesn't make any difference how many presidents get elected. We're still working through wealth disparities, cultural disempowerment, adverse racial disparities across all social determinants of health, cultural erasure and appropriation. We're trying to get after it, because what you have to understand here, folks, is that systemic racism, it really threatens the entire economy. The economic inequity, it places the entire democracy at risk. Racial inequity actually jeopardizes health and wellness for every single Vermonter. So that's the work that the Racial Justice Alliance is doing. Thank you for that slide. We're still here. We're still doing the work. It's 2025. I am excited going into the new year. And I've heard a lot of naysayers, Jada, talking about, oh my God, we all gonna die. It's over. And you know what we say?
We ain't got time for that.
We ain't got time for that. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to move forward, move ahead. And so how was your holiday? What happened? What went down?
It was beautiful.
Come on, tell me about the holiday.
Oh, the holiday was wonderful. Yeah. I got to spend time with one of my good friends and their family. And, nice. It was just a wonderful time, and I got to also spend time in Vermont, which I don't do, and see the beauty of Vermont and experience great people and great food. So
Vermont, the thing. Here's the thing about being in Vermont is I've lived in Europe for over 10 years. I've been in and out of this country, and I've been in probably 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 other countries. I've lived in 17 other states. I've been back and forth across the border. Since I've been in Vermont, do you know the first time I went to Montreal, I've been in Vermont for almost 17 years. The first time I actually went to Montreal was just towards the end of last year.
How was it?
It was a blast. My daughter was coming through, and she said she had a layover in Montreal, so she directed me to be in Montreal. She said, I'll be there. So that's what that was all about. Amazing. I know we got some updates and stuff like that. We want to tell some people about some stuff that's happening. I mentioned at the top of the hour that the legislative session is coming in, and I'm wondering what they're doing. And I was thinking about, basically it's 5 policies we're looking at. Check the slide out. So one of the things that we did, I think last week, and you got that QR code, just in case you're watching, you want to scan that. Tell me what kind of what policy you thinking about. Scan that. If you scan that, those of you who are watching right now, even if this is recorded, you can still scan it, because we're going to roll this the entire session. And just tell us what do you prefer? What should we be placing most of our time and effort behind? But yeah, I just wanted to lay those out, and also talk just a little bit also about the work that we're going to be doing. Thank you for that slide. What we're going to be doing around the prevention as well as mental health, and how we care for ourselves, because that we cannot get away from that. So I'm dying to talk to you a little bit more in the program. But what's going on in the Richard Kim Center? What's happening in 2025?
Yeah, so we have so much going on always, because we are a great space. And we really want to center cultural enrichment regarding Black people, but honestly, the Richard Kim Center is for everybody. Like, we want so much community engagement.
So I can come?
Yes, yes. Anyone, like, anyone can come. Please come.
Okay.
And so every first Saturday of the month, we have a community health and wellness discussion.
Okay.
And every Tuesday, we have chess club.
Okay.
So if you wanna get beat in chess, please come through the Richard Kim Center.
You're calling people out.
Yes, please. Yeah, that is a direct threat. Every second and fourth Friday, we have a youth movie night. We have great movies. So, like, you know, it's a great time. Every Saturday, there's a legal clinic with Sandy Baird. So yeah, and that also ties into what we're talking about, community health and wellness, because like we need to know our rights, and it's like a pro bono clinic, so you can like talk to someone who understands the law, and yeah, get your questions answered.
Hold on for a minute. This, I want to go over to. You can put that slide back up. I want to go over to this slide. We're going to come back to you for a minute. Since we got this from the control room, so let's go with it, because this is some of the things that are going on with the Alliance, and we're going to. Since we put that up already, let's talk a little bit about it. On the first Tuesday, we were doing Equity Matters. Equity Matters was the first Tuesday of the month, and I'm speaking in past tense because I want to just provide a brief update to that, so people don't go over to Fletcher Free on that first Tuesday. We've moved that over to the fourth Tuesday of the month, as far as I know. I think we moved that over to the fourth Tuesday of the month, and what we're doing is we are doing this series. And it's emerging, but I think it's forming up to be a series called Truth and Justice. And this is, it dives into the historical and the contemporary realities of systemic racism, injustice, and inequality. It's designed to empower participants with the knowledge and the actionable tools of social change. So it says here that it's led by a seasoned racial justice activist. Each session provides a structured yet an interactive experience to unpack difficult truths, and also reimagine justice and work collectively towards equity. So that I just wanted to give an update on that. The Truth and Justice series, that's going to be on the fourth Tuesday of the month at Fletcher Free from 5:30 to 7. Let's go back to some of your updates.
Yes, and every third Friday of the month we have a game night, and I got a great Christmas gift, like a new set of dominoes. Oh, snap. So I'm so excited to bring that to the Richard Kim Center.
You know what they call that back from?
Bones.
Bones.
Bones. Yeah, we gonna slam some bones.
It's a cultural empowerment, right? So for those of y'all who want to come and slam bones at the Richard Kim Center, if you just want to know what that means, come down to the Richard Kim Center. And then I imagine there might be some spades happening now.
Yes.
Too. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's also going to be a safe space where anyone can learn how to play spades, like a judgment-free zone. We will teach you all the rules.
No,
we
people don't do that.
We have to.
Don't do that.
We gotta break generational curses.
Okay.
People gotta learn how to play spades.
Okay. We're gonna break some generational curses. That's amazing.
You're losing recipes. Come on.
What else you got?
And lastly, every second and fourth Thursday, we have the Rich program.
The Rich program. Rich program. Race, identity, culture, history.
Yes.
That's that. Transracial adoption in foster care and biracial families and so forth. That's the cultural piece of that. They're helping the kids, and they're also helping white folks raising black kids, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's pretty amazing. Go back over here too.
May I add one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
When we say pro-black, we don't mean anti-white. So just because the Richard Kim Center is a space that empowers like black people and have like programming that centers black people, we really are a space that wants to serve the entire community at large.
You need to say that again. You need to say that one more time.
Pro-black does not mean anti-white.
Oh my goodness.
That's it.
So how come you haven't come on my program before? Right. We're gonna make you a permanent fixture.
As you should.
On here.
As you should.
I want to talk about the justice agenda. This is coming up, and I'm not going to do it right now because I want to go back to that slide and tell you a little bit more about some of the things that are happening in the Richard Kim Center. So let's go back to that. And I've been given this justice agenda, and I was told that if I don't share it with you before we leave air today, that there was going to be hell to pay. So we'll come back to that. But I do want to update you on the steering and organizing working group. There is a steering and organizing working group that is meeting on the first Wednesday of the month for the Racial Justice Alliance. There's also, we're doing First Friday at the Richard Kim Center. I think that has turned into something. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it seems like it was a lot of fun last First Friday. I think somebody was jamming some gospel music or something like that. So yeah, that was good. You talked a little bit about First Saturday from 4 to 6, discussions on health and wellness. We're tracking that too. The Alliance is tracking the health and wellness discussion and the legal clinics. There is a policy working group, which is the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance legislative agenda. I'll tell you more about that when we get to it. There's a partner meeting on the third Thursday of the month. And then there's the wellness working group. There's a wellness working group on the fourth Thursday, just talking about issues affecting Black and brown folks and issues affecting the community. Our wellness working group was instrumental in the creation of the Health Equity Advisory Commission, as well as a lot of the work that's being done across the state currently right now. And of course, we're going to be back to the growing home stuff, and I think we'll have to come back and revisit that time frame. So thank you for that slide. What we'll do is we'll transition a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about the legislative agenda, but before I do that, I'm going to save this because I'm excited about this. This is pretty dope. There's some good stuff on here, but I want to go back to you first because we're talking now about what we're doing in the Richard Kim Center surrounding peer networking and peer support, and one of the things that I'm really interested in that process is how, folks who have things in common with one another, how we work together, how we learn together, how we grow together, how we heal together. And I know that that's something that's been near and dear to your heart. And so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk some about your thoughts on that. And again, we're going into 2025. And there's so many things that are happening, and there's so many people got so much bad news. Right. What's the good news, Jada?
Well, personally, this year I'm celebrating my 25th birthday. What? So I am developing a frontal lobe. So yeah, that's good news for me. And I also want to say that at the Kim Center, we are each other's business, and something that I've learned at the center through the peer support group is that it's going to be you're going to be around amazing individuals that have lived so many lives and have experienced so much, and they are willing to just share their experiences and not from a weird hierarchical vibe. It's just really we care about you and we want you to thrive. So
that's important.
And I think mental health is very vital to surviving, not only in Vermont but in America, as a Black person. So we just have so many resources and tools and skills at our fingertips at the Kim Center. So yeah, just come by and get to know more about what we're doing, so you can also thrive, because we want you to.
Yeah, mental health crisis. We've been talking a lot about the mental health crisis. A lot of people like to say we're coming out of COVID. We ain't out of COVID. COVID's still here. Right. But there was a huge mental toll that played on us. I mean, I think just now we're at a point to where youth are actually graduating high school, who spent that time. Who started that time in high school. Right. We got the Macy's crew downtown, the downtown BHS. There's that, and we saw just some horrific things. All of us. I mean, we want to forget it, but there were tractor trailers behind hospitals in New York City, filled with bodies during this time. We saw, what essential workers really look like, and how we cannot protect them in the most severe of crises. At the same time, we saw George Floyd, and we saw race and racism laid bare nationally, and we really saw the racially disparate and adverse outcomes that exist right in our face. And it made a lot of us crazy, crazier,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Good news, though. Good news is we're resilient.
Right.
We're resilient people. Mm-hmm. Now I'm talking about black folks now. Okay, we can talk about everybody else later, but I'm just saying, from Angola across the Middle Passage through slavery across 400 years. At the end of the day, we're gonna be okay.
Amen.
No matter who the president is, because we ain't having that.
We ain't got time for that.
We ain't got time for that. We're not having that conversation. Mm-hmm. So this year, I'm so excited about the work that y'all are doing, that we're doing, with peer support.
Yeah.
In some of our partners with the mental health department, with Pathways, having conversations, even some relationships with some of the Howard folks. But how do we take care of ourselves? I mean, on that theme, taking care of ourselves. I mean, what are you thinking?
Well, if I may be honest, yeah.
She's gonna say it.
I definitely think like one of like the caveats to receiving mental health services in Vermont always includes the police, and like as a black person, like I don't really vibe with the police, and I feel like what I'm very interested in is like dreaming up some conversations and dreaming up some like actual tangible solutions and like opportunities where we can heal and we can discuss ways to heal. Like I say heal again because like it's so important for us to heal.
It is.
In a way that is not carceral and in a way that doesn't criminalize survival. Because I have been through a lot of mental health crises, and they've all resulted in me entering a psych ward. And while that did have a very like positive, like overall, there was some positivity to that, but I was removed from society, and I was removed from my friends and my family. And I think community-centered healing is what's important, and what will be like on the, it's very important that we like center community, and we also just like stop calling the police on black people. Stop calling the police on black people.
Yeah. That's just not. And it's I was sitting with the mayor just this afternoon with a few other with a good group of clergy, because she met with some clergy this afternoon, and I listened around the room, and I listened how everybody around the room, there were plenty of concerns, and there were plenty concerns about safety, public safety, and all of the things that go into that package, whether it's drug use and the homelessness and all of the other things, mental health, and retail theft. They went down the list, and it just seemed like everything was converging on policing. Right. But I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be the first ones, believe it or not. I didn't want to be the first one to speak, and I just wanted to see how that all played out. They even talked about Palestine, and they talked about our Jewish brothers and sisters feeling unsafe, and I listened through all of that, and then finally I came to a point where I said, and guess what? Guess what else? Is that black folks in this community do not feel safe. Right. We not only do we not feel safe in our community, many of us don't even feel safe at home. Right. Because they got this thing called no-knock warrant. Yep. So there's a lot to unpack there, and at the end of the day, it seems like to me that if we're really going to become well, to get well, yes. And this is why I love you so much. This is why I love what we're doing too. Is we gotta come to the conclusion that we're gonna have to do it ourselves. We're gonna have to do it ourselves. See, there's always been this, historically, there's always been this thing, it's just you fight or it's flight. But that's not black people's story. Black people's story is somewhere in between. There's this thing called create. Come on now. So there are some things that sometimes we just have to do. Yes. And so this is really important. So I appreciate you. Let's go over here to this thing here. Okay, I know I'm gonna get this in, because if I don't, it's gonna be a problem. But listen, the Alliance. I told you at the top of the hour that we're doing that we're at the first day of the legislative session. Yes. That's what I was getting at, okay? Yes. And it's so funny, the first day of the legislative session, it's like everything changes. Everybody is just losing their mind. Mm-hmm. Legislators, they just get too busy for us and all that. But the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance has had a legislative agenda in this last biennium, the biennium before that, Right. So this is they're calling it the Justice Agenda. And this is what it looks like. This, the struggle for human rights, equal protection, accountable and constitutional justice, reparations, and economic justice are more important now than at any time in the nation's history. Today, the civil liberties of women, of the LGBTQIA plus community, immigrants, and also the Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, they're under unprecedented and not unpredictable attack. Polarization has bred grievance and fear-mongering. Hate and anger have become the order of the day. There is a palpable sense that we as a nation are turning our backs on the aspirational principle that is at the heart of this republic. Justice. We must keep our eyes towards justice and continue to do justice in Vermont. Now, Dr. King, he said this. He said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We cannot allow injustice to be threatened. We cannot allow justice to be threatened in Vermont. So now's the time for us to call upon our better angels to provide justice to those we know are most at risk. We must continue to work in transforming institutions to better enable them to serve and support those who are most vulnerable. We must invest in the creation of new community-based programs and services within our underserved communities. And this just goes back again to create. Yeah. We got to create. So the Justice Agenda, the Justice Legislative Agenda, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but what I have here is it supports $800,000 plus increase in the general fund appropriations for the Human Rights Commission. Also, the passage of an equal protection constitutional amendment. Community health and wellness programming and services in the Black and brown communities, which really goes towards what we're talking about, because we need this state apparatus to fund some of the work that we're doing in these communities. If we're talking about doing this work and healing ourselves, yes. We can't do it for magic. We need the money to do that. So I anticipate that we'll be in human services advocating for funding for some of these pilot programs that have something to do with peer support. Statewide constitutional and accountable policing. I said constitutional and accountable policing. And data collection across the justice system, the creation of the Office of Health Equity and the empowerment of the Health Equity Advisory Commission. And let me just speak to that a little bit. We do have an Office of Health Equity in the process of being stood up. It's as a result of the work of the Health Equity Advisory Commission. What we don't have is we don't have it in statute that the office is actually created. So we want to codify that to make sure that in perpetuity it's going to be sustainable. We also want to make sure that the Health Equity Advisory Commission is properly placed in state government so it can function efficiently and moving forward. And we envision that being under the Agency of Human Services. The expansion of the powers and independence of the Office of Racial Equity. What does that mean? We created the Office of Health Equity in 2018. What we're interested in is ensuring that its powers are expanded so it can be more impactful within state government, as well as considering the prospect of its independence. So again, it can have the full latitude it needs in order to do its job. And then, of course, back to the creation of a reparations task force. Just do this. The reparations task force, as well as the passage of an economic justice framework, So that is the justice agenda. We cannot explain away or conveniently forget what we've learned about systemic racism and other forms of oppression since we started this work. Legislators made a commitment to do something about it in 2021 with the Joint Legislative Resolution R113. Remember, racism is a public health emergency? It still is. Vermont is the safest and the healthiest place to live in the United States. And I'm going to say that one more time, because we are spending a lot of time talking about how unsafe and unhealthy Vermont is. And I know a lot of folks who have grown accustomed to being safer than the safest and just being, really completely feeling really comfortable. I know that must be a great feeling. That must be great. But the truth is we're still the safest and we're still the healthiest state in the United States. And that's what we need to consider when we're investing in our communities. Because at the end of the day, there are some among us who feel less safe. And that's why this work is still important. So we're calling upon the legislature to provide justice by ensuring the protection and support of those that are most vulnerable. The protection and support of those that are most vulnerable. This is the only way to ensure that Vermont is healthy and safe for all of us. Because again, if there is injustice anywhere, there is a threat to justice everywhere. That's what this is about. Not that some of us can feel safe, but so we can all feel safe. So there's justice for all, right? Yes. So thank you for coming. We're almost out of here. I'm so glad you joined me.
Thank you for having me.
Wasn't it a blast?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're gonna keep doing this.
Yes, please.
Quickly to this last slide I'll give you for 30 seconds. This last slide is what we're talking about here is we're centering the needs of the Black community and rectifying historical racial inequities. Over at the Richard Kim Center, you guys are brokers over there. You're brokering program expansions to marginalized communities where historically these services and programs, they've been ineffective, inefficient, or non-existent. Creating new systems that empower Black Vermonters denied equal access, and creating space in Burlington where the Black community's wellness, culture, and youth, they all intersect. The Richard Kemp Center expands programs and services that support Black Vermonters' wellness, preserve their culture, support their youth, and advance racial equity and justice. Black folks, issues affecting Black folks, thank you for that slide. Issues affecting Black folks affecting change. You caught us on the Juxtaposition. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate y'all being here. And thank you for being with me today, Jada.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.